Chuparsho Idam Guru Ragnamandam Chedam Soki Chognam La Chamchu Bardu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chunyen Gibe Sunam Ki Jola Benchir Sangye Jubarsho
Sangye
Chedam Soki Chognam La Chanchu Bardu Dagni Kyapsuchi Dagi Chunyen Gibe Sunam Ki Jola Benchir Sangye Jubarsho
Sangye
Chedam Soki Chognam La Jamchu Bardu Dagni Gyapsuchi Dagi Chunyen Gibe Sunam Gi Jola Benchir Sangye Drubar Sho.
Hey, you got the plane.
Thank you. Sorry. I'm sorry. Get all this stuff out of the way. So, remember, we're still talking about how other objects exist from the different philosophical positions, and we left in the middle of a debate between mind only and the lower school. So in this debate, mind only gives a split reason, pointing out what problems exist with the idea that an outer object is sending out replicas of itself, and that's how you perceive things. And this reason, the split reason, has something to do with an enemy and a friend. Does anyone remember what the two reasons are?
Yeah. Because if you were to walk if you were to walk into a room and someone just won some money.
No. That's the second. That's farther on in the debate. This is earlier on in the debate.
Okay.
Oh.
Well,
Oh, there's an O from Taiwan.
well, it's not that they would come.
Here's the beginning of it.
Oh.
Here's that.
That's what I was about to say.
You're about to.
And one is
Oh, yeah,
the
that's
sound that he lost. He
No,
failed.
that's the next part.
This is what I
Sorry.
was about to say. That
This is before that.
it would appear. How could they appear?
If outer things exist by sending replicas of themselves to your eyes,
How could they appear?
then one person should always be sending out two replicas at the same time because they are seen differently by two different people. One is their friend, one is their enemy. Okay?
And it's coming from the side of the object.
So at any given time, a single object should be sending out, nice images of itself, ugly images of itself, half ugly, half nice images of itself, many tantric image of itself, to different people.
Okay.
I like replica. I think that was a great choice of translation.
Replicant.
It's a difficult. What is the Tibetan?
Yeah, Nina. No, it wasn't Nina.
Something dry, right?
Yeah, nda, rangda,
Younger.
likeness of itself, a likeness.
Right.
Okay.
So now we go into the question that the word wants to answer.
Alright.
Okay, someone comes in and says, I won the debate.
Mm-hmm.
So now what's going on next?
Well, how each person has a different reaction to the
They hear the words.
to the announcement, right?
They hear
They hear
something
the
different.
words.
Right. The neutral.
Or they hear something desirable. One hears something desirable, one hears something undesirable.
And wonders something.
One's like, I
And-
hear.
Why do you think he gave this second example?
Well, it
Because
was
it's like
what's happening in their lives regularly.
It's like Chuba or the realms. No.
That has to do
Three
with
aspects of
Because
the one.
Chandrakirti gives it?
He went from visible form to audible sound.
Right.
And in the lower schools,
Cool.
audible sound is problematic. It's considered ineffable because it passes so quickly. So in the lower schools, for example, the atoms required in a molecule, right, in the Abhidharma Kosha, they leave out sound. They don't count sound in the atoms that have to be in a molecule because sound is too ephemeral.
Right.
And sound in words text was not allowed as,
As something that could be imprinted upon because it wasn't
That's
firm.
right.
yeah, the alaya vijnana, the foundation mind,
Mhm.
the storehouse consciousness cannot be made of stuff so flimsy
Right.
as sound. But I believe your author added this argument about how you take what someone said to show that even sound is up to the beholder. Okay, and because it's a problematic thing with the lower schools. They think sound is almost uncapturable because it goes by so fast. So if even that ephemeral sound is coming this way, then something that exists only for a millisecond has to be sending different good sounds, bad sounds. I like that he lost the game. I'm sad that he lost the game to different people. It must be sending different sounds to different people listening to it who don't like the guy who lost or who do like the guy who lost, okay? And the example of the sound was he lost. Okay.
What are three different meanings of Dakni?
Well, we always go to
Ooh,
Mahatma
nice.
A
to-
combination,
Yeah.
Atma,
The great self,
self.
self. It's it to be itself.
Two or more things, whichever one.
And then another one?
That was good
That
for me.
was
That's
good.
all.
I was
I know, I
three.
said, well, the three that I'm looking for.
Uh,
You listed two of the three I was looking for.
Which two of the several that we mentioned were
Yeah.
two?
Which two?
Yeah.
The
Combination.
Mahatma
Uh-huh.
and combination.
And about the thing itself.
So I'm looking for something other than.
I think where she's going is she doesn't want Doc as a third one. She wants a different one.
Essence.
No,
Entity. Thank you. Yeah. Entity.
an entity. Yeah, good.
Is that
Yeah,
also
it which doesn't imply self-nature. Okay.
Oh, it doesn't. Just the thing. Just
Yeah, it means an entity.
I see.
Yeah, it doesn't imply a wrong entity or something like that.
Right. Just
Yeah,
Atma.
yeah. So, in that sense, Dagni is different from Dot. Okay. You rarely use Dagni as a self-existent Dot. It's almost never. In Tibetan. If it means Atman, I guess you do.
Dakshimake.
Tonics.
The imputation, right? After?
You.
No.
After is okay.
Yeah, something.
Chima.
The K is the ka, right? Shima.
Kalen.
It's accept.
Yeah. You accept
Accepting
it.
outside objects as.
This chi doesn't mean chiro.
It means
That's
after.
probably where you're tricking them, right?
It means after, right?
Yeah. And this is always
Do you remember
After it's
refers to a
a reason? What's the topic?
what kind of reason?
Remember there was a split reason?
oh, it's that's
Well.
part of the split reason.
Right.
You
Yeah.
agree to our latter.
Yeah, the latter.
Yeah, it
Oh,
means
not
the
the
second
former.
half of a split
Not
reason.
necessarily.
Whenever you say
Okay.
Dakchima, it always means the latter. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's better.
Sorte.
Ooh, nasty.
Directed from itself, from the outside.
Not bad. Sur.
Coming from
So
its,
it's like
coming from
inward-
inside.
Incoming.
Yeah.
No,
I like to call it artillery is incoming.
Incoming. There's
Incoming
nothing about
artillery.
Not so tall.
onside.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's sorte. The object is, it's like sending a message. It's sending a message to you this
the
way.
outside implies its own side. Sword.
Inner.
Yeah, in their system.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has to be. The replica is sorte. It's being
Directed.
delivered
Yeah.
incoming.
Incoming.
You have to say it like that.
Extra credit. Ooh.
Ooh.
Zhangyan.
Enemy and the.
Friend and enemy.
Okay, and extra
Friend and
credit.
enemy.
This is an abbreviation of what phrase?
Drop down tempo.
Drop. Oh.
Drawo.
Ba.
Drawo down.
Jowl.
Draw. Sorry.
Down yamba. Yeah. Okay, cool. Nice question.
Thank you.
Good questions. She got all the difficult things. All right.
Just
Pretty
all
much
the easy
everything
stuff
we
in her
covered.
text.
Yeah, it's a pretty nasty text. She's doing a text on different emptiness meditations by Chonin Lama. So we're trying to cover all the fields of Buddhism. He's Siddhanta, philosophical schools. She's Vinaya. He's Mr. Mind Only. Tang Tang is Sutras. Stanley is Abhidharma. Nick is Higher Middle Way. Sugang is Lower Middle Way. Seiji is Lojong, and she's practiced text meditation. Sugang is Lower Middle Way. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Lower Middle Way. All right, go. Sugang, you got the plane. Complain about something. Come on.
沈阳
Hot in here.
你写了孟婆南巴沙瓦的西罗的基
Nice key.
南巴满的伊那
Good. Mainte, you know?
的伊那
Okay. I made some notes to myself because this is kind of hard. Moreover, Mikshi Langumba number Sharma Day. When blue appears to your
Consciousness.
visual awareness, okay? I prefer to say awareness. I mean, I'm trying it out like a pair of pants, you know? I think it's more comfortable for people than consciousness.
Visual awareness?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rather than saying consciousness of the eye. Because I don't think that will pass the waiter test. We call it the waiter test. Would a waiter easily understand it in a restaurant? My eye consciousness is not so good. My awareness of this food, I don't know. Okay, when an image of blue makes its appearance to the visual awareness, okay, it's not that an outer object is sending a likeness of itself to the eye, okay? Right? Mayan. Because, yina.
Because if it were,
Yeah, good. If it were, good.
Nice.
So this is difficult. Mayente, yina. So you got to pause after the te. It's not that it's sending pictures to you, because if it were, and now he's going to have some problems. Okay, who believes the pictures being sent to you thing?
the lower schools.
Those are novels.
Yeah, and a thing called science. Okay,
Those guys.
things are bouncing off and coming to you. Okay, all right.
我康拉雷真伊拉花米伊达松伊吉嘎图德贝塞
Chikchar.
吉扎
Yeah.
图德贝塞出德花拉德西米拉去伊达兰那查
Good.
do nangwana chu te ni mupo te sun ke shi bun
Nice.
yimbarta
Good.
de be de chir
Dupadich. Nice.
de be de chir
Oh. Okay. This is porpa.
This is the
Chui porpa.
That's what you're gonna
What's a porpa?
A bowl.
bowl.
Yeah, a bowl. So specifically the bowl that a monk brings to the assembly to get their food.
Yeah.
Okay. Porpa. It's funny. Some monks' bowls like this big.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be about this big, but you see these guys pull it out. So chew pork.
Bowl of water.
Water bowl.
Yeah, a bowl of water, because they use it for drinking also. They use it for a drinking cup also. Chuporpa. This was difficult for me because at first I thought it was a lala.
Sure.
with a instrumental, but
So-
Chen can't come after that. You see?
Oh, yeah, you can't have it.
No,
Yeah.
you can't be by some having.
Right.
So you have to read it Kang La Lei Chen, meaning a being who has certain karma. Okay. Okay. Like Sem Chen, sentient being or whatever. Person that has a mind. Lei Chen.
Well, they're calling a being of Lei Chen?
Well, no,
Oh.
because we're talking about 3 different
Right.
types of beings as karma holders, vessels of karma, maybe. Okay, Lei Chen.
Oh.
Ki, and he has
Oh,
3 sitting
sees
around a. You okay?
Yeah, so he
Wow.
sees
Yeah.
it, begging bowl or
Means-
water bowl.
Yeah, two, one water bowl.
Yeah.
Kang means here.
Any old
If?
Yeah.
No.
Any?
Cha kanchi. Cha kanchi.
Some.
Oh, first.
How you tell a foreigner speaking Tibetan? They say, "Cha ki kai yu chi te." Please give me a cup of tea. But in Tibetan, you just say "Cha kanchi." Give me a full of tea.
Oh, Khan. Oh,
Okay,
cool.
can you give me a full of tea? If you say, because tea is central to Tibetan culture. If you know how to ask for a cup of tea, they'll think you're cool. So you just say "Cha kanchi." Can I have a full of tea? And you don't say cup. You don't use the word for a cup. Okay. Kang means full. Full. Purna. Okay. Kang Pao is a famous Abhidharma author, for example.
Yeah,
Purna. Purna Vandana. Okay. Kang. So, looking, 3 beings with different karmas. Okay.
Oh.
That's the implication. Look at a single bowl of water, meaning bowl full of water. Okay. And the 3 are a hla, a mi, and a yida.
Deity, human, and a hungry ghost.
Yeah, good. And this is unusual. You don't see it much. Wasser.
Oh,
Wasser.
but Yudak always.
Yeah, and sometimes you see it spelled this way. Well, I can't do it without the Tibetan. Sometimes you see it without the Wasser.
Oh.
But that's illegal in Tibetan orthography. Why?
Because
Tag.
Oh,
You have to have the Wasser. But it's often spelled without it. You don't.
You can't have
can't
cow
have
before a cup?
saw suffix.
No, you can. That's the problem.
but it confuses it with another word.
Yeah, it's ambiguous because it could be with bliss.
Oh,
Right.
Gawe. You see? Gay. D-G-A.
Oh,
You see what I mean?
yeah, but with a
So
cow.
Wasser is used to indicate the main letter.
Yeah. So
Okay? If it weren't there, G would be the main letter.
Right, gay.
You see what I mean? Yeah.
ambiguity.
So you often see it misspelled. You often see people don't use the Wasser. Okay? Otherwise, it could mean happy mind or something like that.
yeah.
Okay, with a happy mind.
Yeah, by the happy
But
mind.
this one, I don't know. You'd have to be in grade school, first kindergarten.
Well, there are places in scripture where it's very frustrating because you sit there and you think it's by bliss for 10 minutes and then you realize they misspelled yidat.
Wow.
but
Okay.
you can't
That's
have
cool to
a.
know.
But you can't have a secondary suffix on a word where the root letter has no
Yeah, you can,
Uh,
unfortunately.
vowel or
Like,
head letter or foot letter.
Like gay. Like by.
Well, that's,
Yeah. It's not a secondary suffix.
no,
it's
you
a,
could have rocks,
instrument.
R-A-G-S. You see,
Okay.
yeah. Ricks, you know, as opposed to Rick.
But it's got a vowel.
Yeah. But there's rocks. Yeah.
Bro.
We're going to have it today, I think. Yeah, okay, anyway, Kitlam. So you got sitting around the table playing poker is who?
Deva,
Deity.
A deva, a human, and a preta. Okay.
What's the English word that you use for that?
I use, I don't like to use hungry
You
ghost.
often say craving spirit.
I use craving spirit because that's really what a yiduk is. Yeah, it's not necessarily hungry. For example, there are many stories. The story of the guy whose son ate him because he was a fish, and the mother was born as a dog in the house. And you see, if they are born, if they have desire for their residence, then when they die, they're born as an animal in that residence or as a preta. And that's why you get haunted houses and stuff like
Very
that.
applies to
It's often someone who spent a lot of time and money to build a special house and then they get attached to it. Chikchada tepetse.
Simultaneously look at this.
Yeah, and there should have been key. And there is such a thing as a lazy key where you just use a genitive. There is such a thing, but it's sloppy. What did Dwight Whitney call it? Slovenly. Okay, not quite slovenly, but Chikchada tepetse.
They're both looking at the same time, at the same instance?
Sum.
All three of them are.
Yeah, all three of them are looking at the same bowl at the same time. Okay, Chikchadu at the same time. Tepa, they are looking. Okay. Chudela.
to the data,
Should they-
it looks
so-
like nectar.
Yeah, that water
Person, it's
looks like
Amirta.
deathless nectar, amrita. Please never say
Amirta.
amrita
Oh, I'm the
or Krishna.
Krishna.
There's no such person as Krishna. It's Krishna, and it's amrita. There's no such thing as amrita, and there's no such thing as Krishna. It's not spelled that way. It would be a ka with an R, and it's not. It's a vocalic R, Kirsch, I-R, Krishna. Okay, everyone mispronounces it. Even the people who follow Krishna call him Krishna. Anyway, because of the British, okay, as happened in so many countries. Chide, like Hong Kong. Chide la
America.
Tutsi mila chu.
To the person, it's water.
To the human, they're all persons.
Oh, to the
To
human.
the human, it's water. Yidala.
To the ghost.
Nak means pas, yeah, of it. So towards ya, yiki nabatare. Okay, they have different impressions of a single entity. Okay. Now we're expecting a proof. Okay. Now we get his assertion. Okay. Here comes the assertion. What was the reason?
Because
They all have
these
separate-
four beings
Yeah,
see
because three different types of beings
with respect
have three different types of perceptions towards
The
an
same one.
towards a single object. That proves line 4.
They don't exist as the same. You can't say that they are the same thing. But they,
What's this whole section that she's been on for a couple of weeks now?
The object.
Chidan, Chirulkidan.
oh, cheating.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, got it?
Yeah, outer
Now what's it say?
Oh, they don't exist as outer objects.
Yeah, therefore,
Yeah.
they don't exist as outer objects. Why? Because one thing is appearing three different ways to three different people in their mind. Okay, got it?
Doesn't come-
Therefore, it must be the case. Who's the duh?
The lower schools, the two lower schools. You can't accept that
Mind
they.
only, right?
Yeah, we say.
Yeah,
Oh.
tentative.
Therefore, we say. Okay, duh means we say.
Oh,
Therefore, we say
They don't
there
exist
was
as-
never three outer objects.
right.
There were no outer objects. Who's talking?
Master
Sangha.
Asanga in his mind-only text. If you're not sure, look at the path. You know, due to Ted's amazing program, it gives you the path. Okay. By the way, we have to fix all the Sanskrit here. That's something Christina can do in your free time someday. It's only 4,700 books. Okay.
Can we go back up to the third line?
yeah.
What purpose is the need serving?
You tell me.
Well, because you associated
Huh?
Tade with me, right?
Yeah, it's basically saying.
Why did he put ni here? It either shows emphasis or he's making meter. Pata, 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 ta, ta. Pata, pata. That's all. I would say it's from meter.
Yeah, so it makes it like confusing for me. Like, okay, so Tade. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
that he
yeah.
was putting Nutsik Yi all together.
Yeah, okay, I understand. It's okay.
Okay.
It could have been. It could have been. But I think he's making meter. Okay. Now, what's the SOP for a quotation?
We have to go and make sure it's spelled correctly.
Commander Foley taught us yesterday. Yeah, what's standard operating procedure?
Go back, find it, the Sungun.
Go find it in the Kangyur Tengyur and make sure they spelled it right, because about 40% of the time it's not spelled right, and it changes the meaning.
That's a low number.
Yeah.
And find context, right?
We had 3 mistakes in one verse yesterday. Yeah. So first go to the Tengyur with this amazing search program, and make sure they spelled it right.
So Yidok.
Because it's so frustrating. You spend half an hour translating a verse, and then you find out it's wrong. And you have to throw it out the translation and do it over again. Okay, so here we go. We're going to go check it.
Yidok is spelled differently.
There's your other spelling.
There's your illegal spelling of
Why
Yidok.
is it illegal?
All right.
Because the same Tibetan letters could have been typed this way.
Right.
But
You see what I mean? By
you
the
said-
typist. They would have been correct.
But as you pointed out, it would be the same problem with drop.
What?
No, yeah, it does have to have a... No, R is never a prefix letter.
But it could be a head letter.
No,
Right,
but
but
it's,
you can't
yeah, it would
write
be
it that
piled
way.
on
Yeah,
top.
right.
There'd be no vowel between
Okay.
the G. Okay?
That's
How
the
would a
only
typist
difference.
then?
Or GA.
This typist knew.
Oh, no.
This typist wrote the right thing. But if they had written DGAS, we could not have docked their pay because it was legal.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay? It's the guy who carved the Tengyur made a boo-boo. Okay?
No, he's just saying.
We gotta dock the pay of the guy in Derge. Okay, that the rest is the same.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Now I want to point out something. It always I always felt uncomfortable with, was it Chinle Lama or Keduk Dhammadagya explaining the cup of water, glass of water, which is called what? Each classical debate in the yikchas, in the monastic textbooks, has its own name. Like my pre-Geshe debate was Jamshung. It has its own name. The book, Maitreya book.
Yeah.
But it's a debate about is Maitreya a tantric deity or a bodhisattva. Okay? So each debate has its own name. What's the name of this debate in the yikchas?
Chumbuk.
Chumbuk, the waterfall. The waterfall. Because classically it's about a preta who runs up to a river
Oh, yeah.
and suddenly sees pus when they get close, okay?
It's an alarm,
And then the author in the ACI course said 1 cup of water
It's
was
parts.
appearing, it had 3 parts, and it was appearing to this guy this way, and it was appearing to this guy this way, and it was appearing to this guy this way. What school believes that?
We do.
No.
No, I don't
That's
think.
Chandrakirti, man.
Well, it's not a glass of water that we're talking about.
But
It's a
isn't
glass
this
of
this
liquid.
what we're fighting against, this whole couple of pages? The idea of it sends an image
Exactly.
to you.
I was
Yeah,
going
it's
to ask, you,
And,
ask you that question.
You know, if the friend and the enemy walk in the same room, then the thing the guy says has to split, so he can hear something bad and he can hear something good.
Problematic, isn't it?
Yeah, I always had a problem with that. It always felt uncomfortable to me. What school was that text?
Supposedly.
Chimbuk. Where does Chimbuk come from? Lower middle. I think it's lower middle way. No, it might be.
Avatar. I think it
It
is.
is.
Okay, Umachiden?
Chandrakirti.
I think
Yeah,
it's Madhyamaka Avatara.
Kanjak Chandrakirti, right? So,
Well, he wrote both.
Find out right now.
Yeah, me too.
He wrote
Unfortunately, I
both.
know right where it is.
you mean the Tachu and the
HCF.
No, he wrote a Chiden and a Tacha for the higher school, and he wrote a
No,
Chacha.
but it's Chandrakirti.
Okay, anyway,
Reading 5.
I think it's
Yeah, I
uncomfortable.
got it.
I think it's uncomfortable. I don't think he should have said it that way. It always felt
I
uncomfortable
thought
to
we were
me.
about the splitting part. How is it split?
Yeah, the idea that it splits and it's like a
entering the middle way.
Chinese. It's like a which one?
Entering the middle way.
Yo, man,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's Chandrakirti.
it's like a Chinese dinner.
Lazy Susan.
Mm.
As they call
That
it.
thing that goes around with the food on it. You see, oh, you're a human. Oh, let me turn it. You know, you need human food. You know. Anyway,
Yeah,
I always felt uncomfortable with it.
Still do.
I don't see much difference between that and the Sautrantika
Right, the
idea.
absurd thing we're complaining about.
Yeah, yeah. I don't feel comfortable with it. Anyway, there you go. Probably there's some other qualifier. To be honest, I don't think Chandrakirti would just make a mistake like that. So, okay, here we go. Okay, go.
Shenyang, chiro gidun mete, su zin lik she sok la rang yu ginam ban na sok ban de tang ter nang wani sepa nam de tang te nam ba chen tu kepa sang yin le
Okay, cool. We were looking at, there's another group translating books, and we were looking at it today, and they're starting with the Kangyur. And I would never do that, because it's very vague. It's very vague, and it's very difficult to read. If you don't study a lot of commentaries before that, you shouldn't be going to the sutras. You will mistranslate it. And they're not philosophical texts. Somebody asked me, Miroj asked me, why are you guys not working on the 8,000 verses? Why didn't you ask me to input the 8,000 verses Sanskrit? And I said, it's useless for us. We can't use that book. He's like, what? You know, it's all stories. It's just stories, okay? There's no philosophy per se in there. There's a lot of stories about how the guy went to get the philosophy. Like ever weeping and people, okay, prarudita, sada prarudita, like sada Shiva, always Shiva. So anyway, but here's an exception. What I want to say is here's an exception. Here's a very sexy sutra coming up, which if I'm a mind-only school guy, I'm like, read this, you know. It's not me. It's not my school. Look, it's Buddha said. Okay, so I'm kind of excited that, so he just quoted 2 lines, and I went and got like 4 or 5 verses for you, because it's so sexy. It's definitely, if I'm a mind-only guy, I will throw that in people's face. And it's a Lankavatara, very famous sutra. The journey to Lanka.
This a lot, man. This book's gotta be so cool.
Yeah, somebody, you know, as we go on as a group, you will say, oh, let's translate that, you know.
Yeah, totally.
Just be aware it's a 10-year thing. Okay, like you will lose a lot of hair before you finish that one. Okay. Shenyan, Chiruki den mete. There are no objects. Sungjing mikshe sogla. When you are aware of a color green, okay, yuki number natsopate, and you see red, and you see green, and you see straight, and you say circular, all that variety, natso, of images that come to you, number from the object, all the variety of aspects of the object, they don't dare nawani, when each one makes its appearance, okay, to you, what's really happening is the mind itself is taking on aspects, is arising with certain aspects, number chenduke. Okay, the mind itself, consciousness itself, shepanam, the various awarenesses, sense consciousness, you can say, the smell and the colors. This whole variety is not out there. It's just different aspects arising in your own consciousness. Okay, got it? Shivan de here means that particular aspect, the color, the green, the red, the smell, the taste. Okay, it's just the mind taking on different aspects. It's not coming from the outside. It's not inspired by the outside. The mind itself is just taking on these aspects. Okay, got it?
Yep.
Then to prove that, he uses lung or rikpa. Lung. He proves it with a scriptural quotation. Okay.
So kepa is
The mind takes on. Personally, I would say takes on.
so chenduke.
Takes on an aspect. Yeah. It's just the mind taking on different aspects. Why?
Just
Because it's not coming from outside.
because
Because the Bretagne opened.
Oh, the pretend, yeah.
And the goshi, it imprints.
Yeah, the bakchaks opened in the goshi.
Yeah, the goshi.
Okay.
And the smearables
The smirables open.
on the kunshi.
Something like that. Okay.
Maten.
That's how? It is that way. Yes, it's that way. Because langar shek bale.
Shankar says
Journey to
so.
Lanka
Because it
says so.
says in
Go ahead.
Chiro Nangwa Ye Me De
Whether or not there are appearances. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Sem Ni Not So Nam Su Nam She
Sumbeja. What's it say?
Um,
Churuki nawa?
There are no appearances of outer objects.
Well, whether-
Outer objects don't appear. What?
Whether or not
Shiro,
outer objects.
no.
Yeah, there is
Whether
no,
or not
Oh,
things are not appearing on the outside.
things are not appearing on the outside.
There's no such thing. In modern colloquial, yomare, yomare, it means yo me.
yeah.
And it gets corrupted to yomare. There's no such thing. Yo me, yomare. Say yomare. You know, is someone going to give you guys a donation? Yomare. You know, there's nobody showing up. By the way, the Foley's gave us 25,000 yesterday for the storage facility. And 10,000 for Miroj.
Yay!
So that we can have a second Sanskrit entry center in probably where you will find the most surviving Sanskrit in different scripts, but still Sanskrit written in different scripts, like Coptic. Coptic is
Like Coptic for Christianity, no, not.
Not in Coptic, just
as-
like
no,
Coptic
like
is a different-
Coptic.
As one would.
Coptic is Greek and Egyptian letters. Check it out.
Outer
Children,
objects.
that nothing's appearing from the outside. That's all. There ain't nothing. There ain't nothing. There ain't nothing appearing from the outside. You admit.
Yeah.
Why? What's happening?
What is it's
The
appearing
mind is
in
taking on
aspects.
various appearances. Okay, not so pleasant. The variety.
Here.
And sometimes the world is called in Buddhism the great rainbow of things. You see, I mean, not so sometimes means
Multitude.
the multitude of variety. You see, it means all the stuff in the world. It looks this great kaleidoscope of it means that
The great
this great kaleidoscope of things we see, smell, hear. It's all just changes inside the mind. Okay.
But when you say yo make, because in my text yo make kept coming up as whether or not.
No, it can mean that, but
in this
yeah, in your text, totally different. Yeah,
So yo may here
because where did it
may.
come up in your text?
In the 10 distinctions between the
The two Madhyamika schools.
The 10
In
hypothetical.
that case,
Yeah,
yome means whether or not
Yeah.
there exists a
Or whether or not.
Rangyupita.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Self-evident
Autonomous
reason.
Yeah, does there exist a logic which has its own efficacy or not? Okay, and then we got onto sidetrack, which is going to take us like a year.
So in this case, is yo may this exact
No.
same thing as may?
Exact same spelling, but no, yeah, it isn't me.
It's the same.
But it's emphatic. It's more emphatic.
Okay.
At ain't nothing at all. Yo money. No such thing. It means no such thing.
Okay.
You meant means no such thing.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then the te is just meter.
No, it's very important here.
Okay.
Yinte. He finished his drupjecha. He finished the quality he's trying to prove. And then he says, here's my reason.
Yeah.
Because you always introduce the reason with te, colon. Okay? There ain't no outer objects, colon. Te. It means because. It means because.
It's
Okay.
instead of the tell.
It announces the arrival of the reason,
Okay.
the third element in the proof, in the syllogism. Okay. Okay?
Coptic is pre-17th century spoken Egyptian.
Well, there's some language down there, but I believe they use Greek letters for Egyptian. How's that?
They did do that for years.
Yeah,
Did that
that's what I'm saying.
after.
We are opening an input center in Nepal because there are 3 different scripts in which Sanskrit was written there, and we believe we've identified 3,000 books in Sanskrit, which is very cool. He's input 625. Okay, here we go. I went and got you the sutra. We must be close.
Thank you.
9 minutes.
Oh, good. How many lines?
It's a long one.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, this is kind of just dessert. I don't know if you're going to end up using it in your footnote. I might, if it were me, just to show off, which I do sometimes. But
Thing?
But I think as I remember, the mind-only school uses this sutra a lot. So I think let's get up close and personal with this sutra, and it'll give you a better appreciation of the history of this viewpoint. Okay.
And I just looked it up. It's like 250 pages. So if anyone's getting squirrely ideas about one to translate that.
250. By the way, always multiply times 5. So.
12 years.
Yeah, 1,250 pages in English, if you're up for it.
Yeah, rest of a lifetime for someone.
Illumination took me about 5 years to do the first 500 pages.
Yeah, we'll have to wait for the next Stanley.
The first,
Someone young.
Call it 12 and a half years, if you know what you're doing. Okay, here we go.
18nhân rồi bé tao tao chết năm đột bé đột tăng tao phải bằng phải bé mịch kêu mày bắn xem xong từ yang nghe shake
Nice.
đó ngơ mày
Oh, wait, let's do that piece. I don't know what number 4 is. He's making a list, okay?
the four
But the yogi who
yoga of the yoga.
the yogi who denies all views of yogis.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
Deny
Talking about the Buddha, I guess. And we'll see.
I don't know. They eliminate imagination and what is imagined. Okay.
Arjuna.
There's Migme Kyewa, Migme Tsewe Terchen, comes from the sutras. Okay. Migme Kyewa Mepani. They believe Migme Kama. They believe Kyewa Mepa. They believe. By the way, I want you to tell me later who stole these verses, who plagiarized these verses. Okay. Migme, there are no outer objects. There's nothing you can focus on. Migpame, and Kewame,
Things don't start.
and nothing starts.
Are in the Arjuna.
What I say, nge, by me said. What I say, semtsang.
Everything's
Oh,
mind
man.
only.
Yeah, everything is mind only. Who's talking?
Lord
Lord
Buddha.
Buddha.
The Buddha. What I say is semtsang. You want my opinion? Mind only. Want my opinion? Mind only. Want my opinion? Mind only.
Fair enough.
The whole world is mind only. What do I say? Mind only. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
At least.
Okay. Oh, Mr. Majimika, how many times you got to hear it? The Buddha said mind only, not us. We're just following the Buddha. I wish you would. Okay.
Good thing
Got
Mr.
it?
Wu's not here for this.
What?
It's a good thing Mr. Wu's not here for this.
Yeah, he would say, yay. Okay. By the way, historically, the mind only was very strong. When the great Chinese scholars came to India, they left, and then the middle way grew strong. And some middle way texts didn't make it to China. Okay. Okay. Go ahead.
ngưng minh bằng gì đó ngưng trọng ngưng mẹ năm ở
4 minutes.
để xin xem lễ tru và
This is Harshan.
ní xem sang tru yang mẹ shit
Okay. This is very similar to Dushe Me Min, which is what?
Yeah, it means third.
the
Nothing and not nothing.
formless realm,
Which level?
the highest.
Fourth. level
Fourth.
of the fourth.
What's it called?
There is nothing and there's not nothing.
Discriminating,
Not nothing and
not
not
discriminating,
nothing.
not
Yeah.
discriminating, and
Yeah, there's no discriminating and there's no non-discriminating. In practical terms, what are you supposed to do during that meditation?
anything comes in, just
Yeah,
let it go.
just let it go.
Yeah.
Don't try to block it. Okay? Let your mind go. If something comes, don't watch it. If nothing comes, that's nice. Okay? Fourth formless realm meditation. Desirable or not?
Only if you want to go to hell for a really long time.
Yeah, only if you want to go to hell. Okay? Extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. 3 and 4. Formless realms 3 and 4. Very famous. What's the third?
Chiang Mai.
Chiang Mai. You know, try to block all thoughts. Try not to think about anything. Okay? The two famous mistakes, and extremely famous. So anyway, here's the same structure. There is nothing, and it's not that there's nothing. Okay? Nothing exists, and it's not that there's nothing. Same structure as the fourth formless realm. By the way, are you not supposed to use that meditation?
No.
Yeah, practice it to develop your mental strength, and then go to the real one. Tenjin Deljun Lutana Lunitona Topache. Tene Senge Namgin Petingin and Yongshune. Tenjin Deljun Lutana Lunitana Topache. Asanga Maitreya. First do the lion stance, but don't stop there. Go to emptiness. Go to dependent origination. Okay. Give up the idea, okay, that there could be anything or that there's nothing. Give up those ideas. Daishin Semle Juni, you will be
Liberated
from
your mind.
Yeah, okay. You will be liberated from your mind. Okay. He should have taught yoga.
Mr. Buddha?
Yeah. Sensantang tuyang ngeshitu ngesheto. I repeat, I say again, it's all your mind. It's just the mind. Mind only. Okay? What's this? What's this tu?
As mind only.
Meter?
Oh, it's
What grammar case?
Deni?
Yeah, Teni grammar case. Teni grammar case. Meaning, it is all the mind. You see? It is all the mind. See? If you didn't have the two, it wouldn't make sense. All of that stuff is the not so, the kaleidoscope of things you see in your life. It exists as the mind. It is all only the mind. Okay, got it? Since I told you want to be liberated from your mind. Okay, go.
这是你当动的当，让人的当就你，那所以路南你，sem sam to yang ge shido.
Now he just uses some synonyms for emptiness. Teishinyi, suchness, kind of like suchness. Tongba.
empty.
Yeah, and sometimes emptiness is called ta, the end of all things. Okay, sometimes it's referred to as ta, anta, the end of all things. Yang and day.
Nirvana.
Yeah, but here it means rangshin kin yang and day,
Oh,
natural nirvana,
Natural Nirvana, yeah.
which means emptiness.
Emptiness.
So these are all, he's throwing out, I call it suchness, I call it emptiness, I call it the end of all things, I call it natural nirvana, I call it Chukiyin,
The realm of Dharma.
the realm of is.
Yeah.
Okay? All this stuff, not so yuki, lu nam ni. I looked up lu because I was uncomfortable with it. Everybody repeats it. It's apparently correct.
Body of stuff.
I think it means physical manifestations, the multifarious manifestations of the mind.
That'll.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay? Meaning, but he wants to say physical stuff. Lu. He uses the word kaya.
Like the corpus?
Yeah, the physical, all this physical stuff is just different pictures in your mind. Okay? Semzang, duyang, neshedo.
As I say,
Yeah, I repeat to you, it's all just the mind.
Allison says it's time to stop.
Come on, one more.
Allison.
No, she's not. She won't stand for
We're
it.
hot, it's getting hot. Oh, it's your text next?
No, I'm just not
Yeah, no.
I just.
There's probably some vow against that.
then find sensam.
Yeah, namto pacha dawayi. All these thoughts in your head are just connected to bakchaks.
Pretend.
Okay, not so semle juwete. All the variety of the world comes from variety in your mind.
Comes from the mind.
Ninam lani chironam. When outer objects appear to people, jiktem by semtamo. It's just the minds of the world. Okay.
The mind of the world, or the world is mind only.
Now here he specifically referred to
Mind.
Churokitan.
Say that.
Outer objects.
Yeah, so if I'm mind only, I'm like, duh. I mean, he said it specifically. He said it specifically. Outer objects are just the manifestations of your mind. Okay. Very sexy sutra. I would throw it into your book. You know.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So Jikten Pai.
Yeah, Jikten Pa means, how is it different from Jikten?
That's worldly.
Worldly.
People of the world. See, here it makes it people.
All people.
Jikten means the world,
Denizens.
Loka. And then Jikten Ba means denizens of the world, yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry. And then what's the Yi doing the same?
Sorry?
It's the mind only of the people of the world?
It's only
It's
mind
just
of
the-
people of the world.
The
Where-
mind of the people of the world?
Yeah, it's nothing more than.
It's nothing more than the mind of the people of the world.
Yeah, yeah.
Mind.
It's nothing more than. Yeah, and you know, your job is to make it mystical. And I bought you guys. You know, I wrote a book with a Muslim author, and I want to invite him to America to give talks because he's a beautiful man, and I thought it would be good for Americans if they, yeah. So he's the 5th best-selling author in Russia. He sold 30 million books. He's an amazing author, and we wrote a book together. But I was thinking to bring him here and have him give talks, and then it turns out he's a Rumi expert, and he's a Sufi dance expert, and I'm like, wow, we could really make a show out of this, you know. And then I looked up the Rumi translation by Coleman, whatever his name. It's like book number 10 on Amazon.
Yeah.
It has sold enough copies that every other American owns a copy. Okay? It's amazing. And he doesn't speak Arabic. He doesn't read Arabic. He takes English translations and he messes with them. And he makes them cool, you know. So something like this, go for it, you know. Pretend you don't know Tibetan.
It's not hard.
Make it, you know, because sometimes we are what we call the classical period. In translation schools in history, there's the classical period and there's the commentarial period. We happen to be in the classical period. We get to translate the originals, which I would rather be. I don't want to be a graduate student who looks into the use of some in a book, you know. I'm so happy to be in the first generation. But this is a classic place to do the Coleman thing. But will we be able to? You know, Norbyakov, he could do it. You know, he's very good at changing things into, you know, you're going to have to rewrite. You guys are going to have to translate your books, and then you're going to have to write a second book called the Diamond Cutter Business Book or something. You see, you're going to have to write, what do you call that? Secondary literature, derivative literature. Yeah, and that's going to sell 10 million, because this is not. Okay, these texts, if you sell, you're going to sell one to your mom, one to your dad, one to your best friend. Then I usually buy 10 myself to pump up the numbers. Okay.
Thank you.
Shimpugi Joshi Metotam Rira Mingshin Yende Gempadi Sangye Shingdu Mikte Uargi Tokun Namda Shinga Juparsho Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kanya Dayami Ike Wokun Sanam Yeshe Sodzoshin Sanam Yeshe Lechungwe Tamba Kuni Tobasho Shmogi Dogi.
Make my usual pitch to walk quietly, please.
Yeah, people are meditating downstairs. So.
Yeah, they're meditating, so try to be mindful of how loud your steps are.